I have to apologize for missing the first part and also for not being there in Cyprus, but I had something which I could not, which kept me here actually in Athens. So I will try not to repeat myself because the previous speakers spoke a lot and they are in the center of what is important regarding geopolitical risks. So if I may say in one phrase, if I had to answer in one phrase regarding the geopolitical risks and how this current geopolitical turmoil is affecting the markets, maybe the one thing I would say is that we are living at the era of the unpredictable, at least as far as geopolitical risk are concerned. So in order to assess a risk, you have first to know what is the risk. So in case of geopolitical risks, there is a lot of uncertainty regarding this issue. And we all know why. I don't want to repeat regarding the ongoing tensions in the relevant, let's say, regions around the globe. So let me add also to what George was speaking before regarding the relevant risks. Now, we also have the macroeconomic risks, and George mentioned about inflation. Regarding the interest rate risks, we see that there is an improving outlook, but yet we have reviewed about concerns over the debt sustainability now regarding in a lot of countries. Cost of credit remains high despite the recent moderation, putting pressure on household finances through, and this is something that needs to be dealt in the relevant, let's say, period. Now, another risk that is very important is the ICT risk regarding the cyber attacks and the IT incidents, which are reported many times the last, let's say, couple of years. So this, especially actually because of the reliance that is given on third-party providers. So this is very important, especially for us in the financial sector and for infrastructure, for investment funds, for investment firms, for banks. So this is a very important consideration. Another consideration that is taken into account all the time is in respect to sustainability and to ESG in general, because we're speaking about greenwashing and related malpractices, risks that do undermine the credibility of green finance, and at the same time remain key area, if I may say, of focus for us, the supervisors, because it is very important to make sure that we try to battle against greenwashing. Now, this burden on sustainability, we may see a shift in this burden regarding sustainability. At the same time, we have seen the results of climate change and the physical risks relating to climate change in the Mediterranean, at least recently, with this unfortunate recent floods from heavy precipitation in various parts like Valencia. So it is very important that all these risks are being counted for. Now, another important issue is, and actually previous speakers also mentioned about this, financial innovation. And financial innovation has, of course, a part of it which is risk, and another part which is relating to innovation, which is something positive for the markets. So as far as the crypto assets are concerned, which are in the sphere of financial innovation, I have to say that right now valuation levels are at historical highs. You see what happens with Bitcoin and Ether, which are close to the records high, and we see extreme volatility, which continues to prevail. Of course, despite of the geopolitical tensions. So for us, the regulators, there is a lot of focus within the EU at least on the MiCA, on the market in crypto assets legislation entry into application from the beginning of next year, and there is a lot of attention in this respect. Also, artificial intelligence. We see that artificial intelligence is booming, which drives stock market rally. But on the other hand, gives a lot of, let's say, instruments and tools in order to have better monitoring of what is going on in the market. And the last and not least, if I may say, is in relation to investor protection issues, because on one hand, we don't see very significant risk shift overall, and we see increased demand in stocks and And also in Greece, we have seen a very significant increase in the inflows that are happening in mutual funds, especially those investing in bonds. But in general, I have to say that with the use of technology, we see that investors, especially those that are less sophisticated, with limited knowledge or resources, are right now more at risk of receiving false or misleading information due to the increase of social media and finance-related posting. So it is very important, and at ESMA, we try to make, let's say, an attempt to reach everybody in the EU, trying to explain about this fake and misleading information, especially with respect to younger ones, who are more accustomed to new technology tools and have a tendency for riskier investment behavior. So if I may say, these are also some risks that I want to add in the discussion. And now, how can we support, let's say, the markets in a way in order to face this macroeconomic uncertainty and all the relevant uncertainties that I just mentioned before? First of all, one very important element for us and for all policymakers is to make sure that there is a stable and resilient financial environment and financial regulation. And we have to make sure that we don't over-regulate. We have to make sure that we are doing exactly what we have to do in order to mitigate the risk possible. So ensuring robust regulatory framework and effective supervision at the same time is of major importance in order to maintain financial stability and promote growth. This, of course, may include capital and liquidity requirements, for transparency requirements, risk management requirements for banks and non-banks financial institutions. And for example, this can be achieved, George mentioned before, with the Capital Market Union, the enhancement of the Capital Market Union. And it is worth mentioning that there are a lot of actions that being done right now in the EU regarding the strengthening of the Capital Market Union. And also it is worth mentioning that the Council just adopted new rules on clearing services that revise the European Market Infrastructure Regulation, the EMIR. Financial innovation, I mentioned before the cons. The pros also have to do with innovative solutions that may increase efficiency and inclusion and provide alternatives to traditional finance. And the implementation of MiCAR and the DLT pilot regime will help promote a friendly environment at the same time for digital assets. ESG, seeking alternative environmental and social and governance solutions for a better world, may be enhanced by a regulatory framework and enforcement that promotes transparency. So this is something that we need to see a lot, because disclosure, again, is something very relevant with the ESG framework, and we need to see how we will proceed in this respect. So apart from for example, the CSRD in Europe, apart from all the European efforts, we also have the EASP that released the new sustainability reporting assurance standards for the globe. So it is very important to see how this can be tackled on a more global basis. And finally, I will speak about, of course, no, actually I have to say two more. The financial resilience, which is to ensure the banks and the non-banking financial institutions to be well prepared and protected against cyber risks and attacks. So DORA is something which is expected to promote resilience in the financial sector. And the last is about financial literacy. We think that financial literacy is of major importance in order to try to mitigate the relevant risks and play a significant role by allowing investors to make informed decisions, understanding risks, and making them less vulnerable to adverse situations. So all these could be possible ways to try to mitigate a little bit the risks that are right now exist in the globe, and not only in Europe, and not only Cyprus and Greece. Thank you.